Dave Feldman's making some interesting moves, man. That production, his product looks so damn good, but so does he. I mean, he shows up, he's in shape, you can tell he works out, you can tell he falls into that. No, but this is real. He comes in a suit, and you want the sequel. Where's Feldman getting these suits, man? He's got the suits, and he's got the shirt with the cool collar, like Brad Pitt from Ocean's 11. The coolest suits you will ever see are worn by Clooney and Pitt in the movie Ocean's 11. It's like, where do you get those suits? Frank Mir used to be rocking these cool suits. I even went to his wife and said, how are you doing that? And she told me, Tom Ford. I went to Tom Ford. Very expensive. I paid this money. I didn't look like that, man. They got some other trick. There's a trick with the collar. Steve Jobs, when he did Apple. Because you probably think there was some tongue-in-cheek there. For me saying, oh, Feldman's a handsome guy. You probably think there's some tongue-in-cheek there. Steve Jobs, who did not know technology, by the way. He did not know software and electronics. He knew drive and he knew management. But Steve Jobs every day had lunch with, who do you think, guys? If he doesn't know tech and he's in the tech business, who do you think? Must have been somewhere an engineer, software development. Steve Jobs, the head of Apple, every day had lunch with head of design. Everything Jobs did, he wanted to look a certain way. And there is such a truth to that. You want to know if a show is going to succeed, go look at the step and drop. Tell you every time. Every time. And it never be wrong. 100% of the time. You know what a step and repeat is? That's kind of a weird name, isn't it? It's the thing that goes behind you. The banner. The banner that goes behind you, you'll do all the photos in front of you, come and do the face-off, you'll come and do this, or maybe somebody will interview you and it's just in the background, it's got the company's name and logo, or maybe their .com, whatever it might be. If somebody uses one that is a tarp, is a tarp and it has a high density of plastic, it will be wrinkled. It will look like garbage. They will pull it as tight as they can. It'll be a backdrop, and it'll look all wrinkled. It'll look like something you roll up and you throw in the back of a trunk and you take to the next town, because that's exactly what happened. Meanwhile, if you go and watch a Tesla interview, it will not matter what you will never see a tarp. You will never see that material. And the step and repeat will be perfectly smooth. If you ever watch ESPN, it will be perfectly smooth. It's a big deal. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to go back, you want to actually test Chael, go ahead. It is a 100% tell. The type of step and repeat you have in the sport of MMA, it's a 100% accurate statement I'm giving you. You'll go back and look in the companies that are out of business. It was the number one thing that Pride had. Pride will never die, and Pride is so great. Pride was fixed for one, and the Pride fighters were pretty good, but we don't fully know because they were so roided out. It was like the Russian Olympic athletes. Like, well, they're pretty good. I don't know how good they are. What do you mean they're the best? They've won all the medals. No, they're all roided out. I don't know how good they actually are. They're chemical monstrosities, and I'm only saying that for you because Pride had production, and that's it. That's it. There was other good things, but you can't make it an MMA in a ring. Quite literally, the reason that MMA worked and got off the ground is because it was in a cage. All right. I'm trying to speak to the level of production and the way something looks and the way it is presented, and it is something that Dave Feldman understands extremely well. And his shows that were beautiful are getting more beautiful. And, by the way, one of the reasons I bring them up, Mike Perry's the face of bare knuckle. Everybody knows that. Dave Feldman's secret sauce is to bring in really famous guys. He's going to have to pay the Eddie Alvarez's, and he's going to have to pay the Luke Rockholts. He's going to have to do that, but he's going to bring them in, and you guys are going to know who it is. You're going to go and get the Ben Rothwells and make the call. Make the call to the Roy Nelsons. I mean, I'm just sharing, like, this is what it has to be. So they've been, bare knuckle, putting on shows, big ones. Conor McGregor's coming out to him, sold out events, beautiful production. I've seen the last two. I don't know who the main event was. And that's not to say there weren't two studs. I don't know who it was. I don't know who main evented versus the other order of the card that I might have seen it in, but I know it isn't Mike Perry. I know the face of their company isn't there, and I do know Feldman's recipe of bringing in these really famous guys. I know he didn't do that for the last two, but he still had this incredible product. That's a game changer. That's a sign to a game changer. When you can start putting on the cards and start bringing in the talent that you've got under contract, you don't have to go and do some spoof and bring somebody else in. When you don't have to do that, when you can do it right here with what we've got in-house and you can fill up a room, you got something real special. But I want you to hold that thought. And I want to think about Slap. I just want to ask you the same thing. Where are you at with that? And Slap is done different. It's not done what we call arena style. It's done what we call theater style. The difference, arena, circular, band is in the middle. Theater style, stage, everybody sits in front of it. Talent only has to face one direction. It's not the same setup, but it is done very beautifully. Every single piece you see to Slap, every piece is done as well from an appearance and production standpoint as that can be done. But I still would maintain for you that that is the driving force right now. Once we can get to the match itself, and I'm kind of asking, by the way, I want to hear if you guys agree with me, but then I also want to hear what is that missing piece. When we can get to the match itself, when we can put out a Slap poster, and it's not Slap, it's not the organization, it's not that Forrest Griffin and some other recognizable people are going to be up there. It's the title, the main event, the two fighters, right? When that's what starts to draw us in, that's where it changes. That's what the shift is. And it's a massive cart horse situation. Do you have enough money to get you to that point before you run out of money and you're not in business anymore? I mean, but that is the point you're trying to get to. That's when it turns. And the number one way to do it, and Slap hasn't done it, neither has done as bare knuckle, is to go after characters. Go after characters in front of athletes. And what would happen? What do you want to see in bare knuckle? What do you want to see? Not who, I'm asking, what do you want to see? Do you want to see a famous NFL linebacker from Detroit take on a famous NFL linebacker from Cincinnati? Do you want to see two regular guys? Do you want to see the guy that drives the Pepsi truck fight Slap with the guy that does the Coke truck? And maybe I'm being silly for you, but that's what I'm asking. Do you want to see two famous people, celebrity boxing style? Is that what you want to see? Or do you want to see some real hardened characters? You want to see a guy with an 8th grade education, he's missing a couple of teeth, but goddamn, he will stand in the pocket and bang. I mean, I'm just asking. There's not a wrong answer, but I would like it for each. What is it you want to see? What is it that would be the dream? And see, I'm challenging you here. You got an open budget, you got a magic wand, but don't tell me the fighters. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking who, I'm asking what. Are you understanding the difference? If you do, don't be ashamed if you don't. Do you? And now I want the same answer with Slap. Do you want two UFC guys? Do you want a former world title fight? Do you want Anderson and I'll just throw myself in it. Do you want Anderson and Do you want Jones and Cormier? Do you want two guys that had a feud? Do you want Diaz and Masvidal? That's actually an interesting match, isn't it? Diaz and Masvidal, that's a really interesting match. What do you want to do? What is it that you want? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Let's get something started. Because Dave's not going to be able to control that. That's going to happen. And his job is to stand back and see it as it's happening, see where the direction is, and then help to steer it. But that's the same job that Dana has. It's the same job. He doesn't decide what you want. He gives offerings, and he's got to be the one that can stand back and look at it and go, this is what they want. So let's just get the conversation started. But I want it for both. I want it for bare knuckle, and I want it for Slap. As you're designing that main event, what do you want?